What's up? It's the Where the Keys At podcast. I'm Eli, and today Ash is sitting next to me.
Yeah.
We've got something special today. So our normal guests ain't here today. We've got some special guests. I'm going to flip the camera around and you can see who we got. So on the left.
Shouts out to Leroy and Raymond. Miss you, man.
So we got Troy.
Tevan, aka DJ Young Dirts, you know who it is.
Ooh,
aka
DJ
Starboy, if you don't forget like that.
So we're going to have, as we say with the podcast, we range. So we talk about things that are topical, things that are cultural, things that are like really important socially. Mm-hmm. And so I think we've got these two young men in here today because...
Young!
One old man and one young man in here today because they've got a lot to say. So, Troy, first of all, why have I got you here?
Oh, man. Well, let's see. I am a psychotherapist and I trained in trauma and early childhood, and I've been in the SAGE team, which is a Suffocating Gangs and Exploitations team, for the last 2 years. So my understanding of the human system and the way it works.
This is the most intellectual I'll show you, man.
And just understanding, young people from a theory point of view. I want to say that it's theory point of view. And what it looks like for them today, boy.
Cool. And Tev, I don't know if you know why I've got you here. Like,
I feel like it's more because I am part of the youth and I'm seeing the young generation coming up from me and being involved as an activist, as they like to call me, in the Black Lives Matter movement with yourself and seeing it firsthand. I feel like it's important to have somebody of my age who's close to the younger generation but also in touch with people that are older.
Yeah, I think it's kind of more than that though. Like seeing you doing your thing and having that motivation, but being able to separate yourself from what's going on and look at it almost from a bit of an older man's perspective, from our perspective, is kind of very interesting. And I think having your voice is just super important. Mm. And I'm proud of what you're doing at your age, because that's something I always want to have the opportunity to do. You know what I mean? Be heard.
Yeah, I hear that. Appreciate
using
it.
the platforms and whatnot is a mad important thing. But I think in Ipswich at the moment, we're always talking on the podcast behind the scenes about what's going on with the young people and what can we do to help the young people. Not that we want to be saviours, but I want to know what's going on and what kind of things are going to help improve.
Okay, so anything.
This sounds like a real kind of ITV interview.
I guess anything that I say on here is based on my understanding, but it's also based on my own research as well. So I'm not coming off the back of. I'm trying not to come off the back of my work. I'm going to try and have my own kind of input because it addresses me as an individual. So some of the issues that we kind of see is there's a lot of universal stuff really. Social, economic, political stuff, areas of deprivation in Ipswich, and not just Ipswich, we're talking about the county and nationwide, job opportunities, demographics.
But that ain't nothing new, man. Like,
real
found it hard to get a job in it. Like,
access to kind of choices and stuff like that, and
but we got
education as well.
Oh, okay, you're trying to blame me now? Okay.
From a younger person's perspective, I think it's more because the fact now there's so much more technology and social media is such a big thing and such a platform to have not necessarily your voice heard, but for you to be seen. So it's more of a thing where people want to be in the more of a social eye instead of actually doing it face to face and person to person. They'd rather do it online.
It's easier to hype, isn't it?
It's more like clout. So look, this whole thing about clout and what people want. So they just want the views instead of actually wanting to do something for themselves. Yeah. They want the views, and they think and they see somebody in a position of power. So not necessarily like music artists, but they're just random things. And I feel like a lot of people just try and follow instead of actually having an aspiration and wanting to do something that's actually productive, they're like, I'm just going to be a YouTuber. I'm just going to do TikTok. And they just strive to be a person that it doesn't require a lot to do, if that makes sense. Yeah. And they're not actually using any of their qualities and their personal qualities. They're just using something that's so easy to do on a social media, and sometimes it's coming off, sometimes it's not. But they're just trying to be in such a public eye and socially instead of like actually being a person And I know that back in the day, say even with things like
He looked at Troy when he said that. I think what you touched on there, that's super important. Like, I ain't got to see you. Have I?
You haven't got to see me to do anything.
Well, also, I think you've got to, well, you don't have to, but take into account, can we take into account that the last 6 months, everyone's been on in a space where they've had to kind of reinvent themselves in terms of how to be accessible to the world.
Yeah.
So not only, I mean, like, who here had house party? Who here had that house party app?
I hate that app.
House
Yeah, but
party.
did you not have the house party app?
I
swear that. No, the house party app lasted for like what, 4 or 5 weeks, and then was just
Died
dead.
out, yeah.
Like it wasn't. It was
I know
like
what it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Where people come in and they see your face.
They see your face. It's like a FaceTime thing, but like it's about 20 people.
I downloaded it, and I put it on my phone, and then someone popped up on my screen. I was like, I took it off because my sister told me to get it. She said, "Go on, house party."
Yeah,
House party.
you know, I think a lot of people have, especially in the last few months, have definitely been trying to kind of make themselves more accessible. So therefore, TikTok's taken an absolute jump. But I do think that YouTube is an absolute amazing medium where people can say, you know what, I want to be a YouTuber, but do something constructive with it. Like,
100%.
So having something like this where people can look and go, you know what, they're setting up a podcast, I want to try and put my own on there, and then you can talk about whatever crap. You can talk about Star Wars or golf or whatever it is.
We've got some crap episodes coming up where we're going to be talking about films and all that. It can't always be whatever.
No,
you know.
So I do recognise that everyone's trying to jump in and make that quick buck because no one's prepared to be involved in working hard.
Do we have like youth club for the kids these days? Like, because you know, back in the day we had youth club. We had people from Wheaton come to our youth club. You know what I mean? We had a very
only certain mans could go to certain areas back in them days because you can just walk through into the youth club.
But you know what?
That's going to be another big topic, by the way. But we can't.
That's it. That's what it is. But I do think like the youth clubs helped me meet other people in other areas. You still saw him, like you still had to see him, didn't you? So you had to kind of respect him a bit if you were going to fight him, or
that's
have a beef with him. You knew you were going to see him.
Nowadays,
so
this younger generation,
you are going to see him, and you're aware of the implications. But if you're not used to seeing people and being accountable, and then one day you see him,
I think now because everything's ops, everything's just op.
You're literally was about to say
you're an op. You're an op. Like I was talking to.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You know what op means? I know what that means.
Yeah.
You don't know what it means?
Nah, I hear in the tunes
opposition.
Opposition.
Operation, I'm thinking. Honestly,
I'm
cutting this out of the podcast.
I don't ask the youngest what that means, bro.
So you step across. You know, you go down to like the Nancy Road Baptist Church or whatever, where they got their youth club now.
They got youth club there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been going for almost. Close to a year.
Down Acton.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Nancy Road,
you step in there because you want to kind of like chill and whatever. That's good. But if you're facing from the area, that's it. You're getting G checked. Everyone's come to you. Where you from? Who you with? Whatever. Yada yada. And then you're an op because you're in that certain area.
They'll take it too far as a case where they'll actually want to, even if it's a fight, like, they'll take it further than a fight. They'll take it further and it becomes like a war, a little mini war. And we're trying to be like places like Ipswich and little places will try to be like how London, because like we were talking the other day, obviously off the podcast, about the music, like the music and the lifestyle of trying to be like a certain person and trying to push yourselves into a lane where you don't understand and you don't need to be.
It's just not something that you want to be in. So if you hear something like, someone's been in an accident or someone's been stabbed or someone like that in London or something like that, your body's just reacting in this way. So therefore you're always going to be in tune in a negative way to this kind of stuff. So then when you hear, I don't know, if you got something on Instagram, someone's at you or something like that, instantly your whole body's just like, right, I'm amped. I'm going to do that. Could you imagine if that was in Ipswich like 20 years ago and someone was just atting everyone? It would have been worse. And we just don't, we didn't have it, so therefore our reactions to it were a little bit different. And I was thinking about this in terms of what it looks like. I remember we had beef. Our school, Stoke, with Thelston.
Great school, by the way.
Oh yeah, look, we've got Chartby boys over here.
No, I'm Chartby, but I'm from West Stoke.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Stop the podcast right now.
All day, but we sorted it out. We sorted it out on the football field. Like literally, like to the point, and I won't mention any names, but we played Thelston And in my year, were the baddest footballers at Thelston. Like, they just had up the whole Ipswich, the whole of Suffolk, and they beat us. And I remember one person at the end of the game pulled his pants down and showed his bum. I was just like, that's it. That's the worst. That's the worst that's going to happen. That's it. I couldn't.
Look at his face, man. I'm glad I'm not for that era.
I'll take it.
But that was it. That was the worst that was going to happen because they'd proved it. Like, they were better than us, and that was it. I'm not going to go and fight them because they beat us at a football game. That was it, and that's how we squashed it.
I refuse to believe that we are better people than what the young people are now, because we definitely ain't.
Oh, bro, no way. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, it's about clout and stunting a person that you're not. Because back in the day, people, from my knowledge and what I know, they are more real.
What did we listen to growing up?
Hip hop.
Who?
Bashment. R&B.
And hip hop all saying
Garage.
kill it end, do it end this,
Naughty by Nature, NWA, like, you know.
That's all it said. But I ain't never want to do that to
Tupac,
someone.
Biggie,
So I refuse when people say it's the music. I just don't know if I can believe it in my heart still to this day. And I'm not qualified to speak on it, but I just think that's all I listen to.
So let's say, for
instance,
instance, whoever it was is saying, yeah, I could beat you, whatever, and then you've got a whole group of people, not just saying it, going, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, don't have it, bad him up, do something to him. If someone says something to you like, I'm better than you, that's getting support, that's getting likes, that's getting comments on everything, all the way through, and people can go back in historically and like it and comment on it and stuff like that. So it's always in your face, pushing until your body says, right, I'm gonna go do something about it.
I think in our day it was easy. I keep saying it.
Can we just have an agreement not to say back in our day for the whole podcast? I don't want to hear that ever again.
When we was like in our teens or early 20s, it was a case of like, if we was out and somebody say something to you and you had a little disagreement in the club, it was like, all right, come, let's go outside. You had a fist up and then you go home. Someone wake up next day with a black eye, you know what I mean? Like, like that.
live to fight another day.
I think now, because of social media, these kids are, like you said, they're just amped up. That just amped them up, and then the next thing you know, they're all carrying knives now, you know what I mean? They're all running around with knives, and next thing you know, they end up in an altercation where they're using knife instead of like just putting them down and say, all right, let's just fix it out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's.
I don't agree. I refuse to believe.
So what you saying?
I just don't think I can't squarely put it on music and social media. I just think there must be some more cultural or social things having an impact on young people that makes them feel that pressure more. I just don't think it.
Well, I'm telling you, you're going to be waiting a long time to put your finger on it, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that will. It depends on the person as well. You can't just say, because for one person it might be one thing. They might be doing it for a social acknowledgement and say, like, I want people to look at me and be feared of me. But like you said, it's no different to how people were back in the day.
No.
But it also might be people behind him pressuring him, like either his boys or people that he looks up to and are pressuring him. Like you said, again, nothing new to back in the day.
No.
So it's just different. It's different things. But like, let's touch on what we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, so that's what
we said. We said we were talking about drill music.
Yeah.
And how big of an impact that people seem to think, because I'm in the same headspace as Eli, where I don't feel like it's the actual music.
But when you talk about kind of like atting people on music, we're talking about like the essence of, like, as Jay-Z said, the essence of rap, the rap battle. And people would leave it on wax, and that's what it was about, going and saying, you know, I got this, I got that, you haven't got this, you haven't got that. Yeah. And that's what it would kind of be about, you know, who can kind of hype up the crowd by dissing the other person.
Say the most vilest words.
And even, you know, if you watch some of those kind of rap battles, it gets out of hand if someone hits the wrong note. You hit the wrong note, and that's it. It's lunchtime for you. And I think but that's what it is for drill music for me. When you call someone out, you're calling them out, and they're so bait with it. Yeah, I did this to your girl, I did that.
It's not even to your girl. It's like it's did everyone know this? They use a scoring system of points, and say they're like, so
score more points than Jordan.
Yeah, score more points. So come on, like COD, like, what the fuck are they doing?
Who's
keeping score then?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's these crews and gangs and stuff, and it's not even the fact that I don't blame them, like, for what they're doing, because they live that life, and it's like they shouldn't live that life. Like I'm completely against what they live. But they're talking about how they live. Do you know what I mean? They're talking stupidness, but they're talking about that's their real life. That's their everyday. Like I can't just sit here and say you're an idiot for talking about what happens to you on a day-to-day basis. Because inside, they might be the most scared people like that you could even know. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody knows them personally enough to know what their life is like 24/7. They've got to look over their shoulders 24/7.
I think because it's British music as well, and I don't think we've ever seen the popularity of British music ever it goes everywhere. Like I was listening to New Zealand drill. I was listening to their like Chinese, Japanese drill. Like, but the one thing I was just sitting there thinking is I don't want to keep demonising black music because like you've got rock, you know, punk rock, drugs, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's the most famous quote that you can probably think of. You know, and that highlights domestic violence. You know, when you think of like Hell's Angels, you think of racism, and that's synonymous with a certain type of music.
People sit there and think, like, bruv, he's talking about killing someone, burning their ashes.
But that sounds like they're trying to be funny as well. Like
they are. They're trying. That's what I mean.
Value in that life. It's a joke.
It's a joke. It's a joke to them. So the Mario thing with the and like after they're saying about somebody who's died, to them it's banter. It's like like the man are dead. I don't care.
But that's the same. Is it 10/11? Or I can't remember who it is in London. Every tune that they put up, they have to kind of go through Trident, which is kind of like Metropolitan Police, enforcement, knock down your door, please may we come in. That crew, and they have to go through them. So then what happens is you get everything you see on here is for entertainment purposes because it's the only way that they can use it to say, okay, well, we're not talking about what we were actually talking about, even though it's blatant in our face. And you are right. We don't get to control that message.
No.
But I think we do. I think straight up.
What, we do control the message?
Yeah.
Okay, so what, black people run like a news corporation or anything like that?
Well, I think if you've got, you know, with the radio DJs that we've got out at the moment, yes, they do have their playlists and they've got the ones where the record companies are buying into. But then you've got, I don't know, like Dottie on Radio 1. She has like her playlist. You've got like the call in, and I think it's about kind of.
But if she's left now, but if she was still there and she made a playlist of stuff that she thought was appropriate, and they looked at the stats and said, "Yo, this ain't getting engagement," she ain't got a job no more. So how much control has she really got? Yeah. Like, I don't think we have enough control over our message. We've got no real platforms that are got our best interests at heart. And we were saying the other day, and I cut it out of the pod because I was talking too much, and I probably am now, but we are being represented. Black people are being represented a lot more than what we were before. Especially black British people. But it's only a small segment of black British people.
In terms of like NWA and Naughty by Nature, they were talking about the world in which it was, and they were talking about like gunning people down, and you know, and obviously a lot of it was South Central LA, and you know, and the New York boys were talking about the exact same thing. So they were just talking about and exactly what we are, and the generation now, they're saying we're just talking about the life we live.
And who was paying them?
Pardon?
Who was paying them?
No.
Black media corporations, black record labels.
But we were the ones that were buying it. Even
who was selling it to us? Like, you don't buy something you're not sold, yeah? It's called marketing for a reason, yeah? So there's like, it's not by.
Well, you also don't buy something that you don't want to listen to.
Yeah, I would disagree to that.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. Because
I disagree.
Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. I love it. I'm not even gonna lie. I love it. I don't care what anyone says.
That's what I'm saying.
You
buy
love
something
that you listen
but
to.
I don't love it. I'm not gonna buy it.
No, I'm not gonna buy it.
Even if you throw it down my throat, I'm not buying it.
Advertising and marketing, they work on you every day. Even
I hear what you're saying.
Till you're convinced to give something a try. You're convinced that this is for you. Like, they know that stuff, man. Even worse with the click-through rates and stuff.
Okay, that's where you're right, because you're saying convinced this is for you. Yeah. And I feel like like you're right in a sense where corporations, there's a lot of
they're kind of
not
away
from
the repercussions of what they do. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
100%. So like, even with drill, like, okay, now that's what I
Yeah.
agree, because with drill music, they obviously see that nowadays it's like a good market. So I understand what you're saying is, and they'll push it out to you and push it in the faces of people they think that will kind of take to it and listen to it. So they're not going to push it into a market where it doesn't make sense.
So we're talking about like black empowerment then. So it's not like there aren't enough people in the UK that have got themselves to a level where they can buy into the system, or even buy the system, or buy a system where they can put out their own stuff. There are way more people that can do it than people that can't.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's either, like I say, I think we have control of our voice. I think there are enough people out there, if they felt it was right, if they weren't worried about kind of the money that they were making after they've made their money and established money, they could go and do that. I mean, like, I rep Stormzy for exactly everything that he's doing. And obviously he's got his own, I think, or he had his own thing on Apple Music or Apple TV or whatever. And I don't know if he's still doing it.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Me and Ashwell like that.
And Dottie now, she's gone over to Apple as well. She's the...
Is that Dottie?
Yeah.
She works at, do you not know that? Yeah, she left...
Apple are just pigeon, like they're stealing everyone, man.
But what they're doing is you're just going from one organisation to another organisation. There's nothing stopping Dottie that could have gone and done an independent or anything like that, and she would have got the following. You know, if you'd have got 2 or 3 backers to go in and put that money underneath it and then raise it and start up from an internet, then come through and then, you know...
She's probably looking at it on a point of view where she's like, well, they're offering me this, that and the whatever.
$2 trillion company.
What is your price?
Yeah, but that's what we don't know. We don't know what our price is. Like, if they're offering you money to say, you know what, that can set me up for, you don't know what kind of position she was in before, you know what I mean?
And,
so those are things.
And she's, I like it because she's going in and she's doing the infiltration. Maybe she's like, you know what, I'm going to get in the system, I'm going to learn about it, and maybe that's what Storm's like, and then I'm going to break out.
Exactly.
And that's fantastic for the 5-10 year plan, but in the 5-10 years, whilst we've still got, you know, black artists and groups going in and tearing, you know, communities apart, and young people's lives are being taken and bystanders' lives are being taken, that's kind of that pulls in people to say, right, we're gonna police this harder, we're gonna put a stamp down on crime, more people are gonna go to jail, we're gonna do this and this, and then they're doing the things to provide the interventions out of it. So yeah, big changes.
It's just such a hard one, man. It's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, saying whether it's definitely because of like the drill music, or it's just because we have underrepresentation, or having the right voices, basically being heard, maybe musically, and even talking. But I feel like there's enough people that people listen to and have a good message. There's enough for people to say, look, all right, cool, we want to follow this person. But I just think
they ain't cool though, man.
What's that?
They ain't cool.
But that's what I'm saying. Clout.
Like who's not who is
man,
it?
nerds, man. I know how I used to feel. I'd be like, people were like, listen to this. Like, oh man,
but music plays a small part.
Cool.
I don't think music should play a massive part in someone's. Whether you think, oh, I'm gonna kill somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that.
Shouldn't play that part.
People we thought differently.
Like we're saying, we grew up in a generation where we had these hard music. We listened to these hard music. We listened to people talking about doing this, that to each other. We don't go out there and go, oh yeah, we're gonna just, you know what? They say it's.
But we live in a generation where there's Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, but he's still. I hear you, but you still have decent content. You still got Kendrick Lamar. You got people around that actually got good content. You know what I mean? So it's not like. I hear you want to listen to drill. I got no problem with people listening to the drill, but you can't then go listen to a music and go, I'm going to do what he said in the music. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like, how weak is your mind to say? Because that's how I feel. I feel like music should not make you go and say, oh yeah, I'm going to go out there and kill somebody.
But then I think it goes back to...
It should only play a small part. Like, that's you can only blame music for a small part of that.
Yeah.
You can't
I agree
say
with that.
music is a massive part of it. I just don't agree with that.
I think it also then goes back to the... Well, what outlets do they have to kind of take themselves away from it? Like, you know, you could make music and you could go to the studio. You could go to wherever it was and do that. You could learn radio but nowadays you don't have that. Like my little brother, like Gipswich Park. When I'd go outside, there'd be a massive goalpost. There'd be like the full goalpost. Now there's that little farty.
Yeah.
5-a-side.
Yeah, I see that.
It's not even there. Oh, it's still there. Is it still there?
Remember they used to take them down and go over like winter time. I'm like, why? And then put them back on you when the summer comes.
There's nothing there. Climbing frames, everything. Now young people have got to hang around co-op and stand outside there just because there's light and there's safety, there's a camera and there's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then they stand outside and then people are afraid to go in there because they think they're hoodlums or they're hoodies or they're creating a nuisance, antisocial behaviour. And we buy into that stereotype, but what are we doing? We're not doing any. We're not being an activist and going out to our local MPs and saying, look, we want and we need these things to be put in place for young people.
Who's we? The young people or their parents? Or who?
We. Anyone that has the opportunity to change the voice in this town. Because, you know, and it all goes back to whether or not you decide to vote. You know, who are the people that you're electing in? You know.
Tom Hunt, apparently.
Tom Hunt. He's listen, my man's...
Am I allowed to say that he's an idiot? I don't care about this podcast. Tom Hunt, did you hear me now, yeah? You're an idiot. How about that? Tevan Allen, yeah, says that you're an idiot. Because he's a fool, man. So, I mean, I can't deal with MPs like and people think, like, you've got to be educated and switched on to know that Tom Hunt's a fool. Like, people are not going to see that. But luckily, we have the outlets of social media. So I know about what he's been doing and what he says and his ideology of certain situations. He's a fool, an absolute idiot. That makes no sense, and obviously has no sense of.
He's not from here, is he?
No, and has no sense of what Ipswich is like as a place, and has been like for a number of years.
But it goes back to what you said about a global majority, but the reality is we're a local minority, and we don't have a lot of political power. We all need to use it. We don't. But even if we did, we're still a minority. And Tom Hunt looks at the population and goes, oh, well, 13% of them said this, but, you know, the other 87% said that. So,
but you know that the maybe we're going off, but the statistical age of voting is 45 plus.
Is it?
Yes. So what does that say? And if you think about it,
it says that people with a vested interest in something vote.
Yeah.
And we're saying we want the majority of people to have a vested interest in our young people. And unfortunately,
that's not the case.
I think that's where Black Lives Matter comes in. When I went to the Black Lives Matter event, I was pleased to see how many non-black people were there.
Yeah.
Because I thought, you know what, I think I foolishly thought this, but I thought they've got a vested interest in our well-being and our people, and they might actually start to make decisions with their majority power to help us.
For me, it's like, who's talking to the young kids? Like, who's talking to you, Tev? Who's talking to you and saying, like, that's a good move or that's a bad move? Because that's what I think kids, the younger ones, need. Sometimes they got, like, the role models, not really role models in the house, you know what I mean? Role models is involving criminal activity, so then they just think they're following their...
That's been like that for years.
Yeah, but then you have in some houses you got role models where they're involved in criminal activity, but that doesn't mean that that sibling or that you know what I mean. That
I hear what you're
brother
saying.
Get involved in any of that.
I feel like it's the same. It's the same as how it was before, because I feel there was a lot more. So for me personally, the older generation, there was a lot more of them that were probably involved in criminal activity than there is now. Does that make sense? So, like, because back then it was more you have to do what you have to do to survive, to, like, live. So we'll go rob a shop because we ain't got no money for today. There's a lot, like, I was saying this the other day, it's a lost generation. Genuinely, you could drum into, like, some of these people and they won't get it. They will continuously do the same thing until they actually do something that they think, right, now I have to look at my life. And blah, blah. It's only a certain few. I'm not saying all of them are lost, but there is a lot of people in this generation that are not as switched on as they were before.
Yeah, well, there's an age, right? Troy, you probably know better than me, but there's definitely a key age you need to reach young people at, right?
100%, because they make the decision whether to go this way or that way.
I think they've got, you know, you've also got things like reachable, teachable moments, like, you know, these special times where you can work with somebody, and that could be from, you know, someone being excluded, fixed term or permanently, you know, being arrested, after a fight or an incident, going into hospital. And, you know, there are different schools of thought. Some people will say, well, we'll get them once they hit high school, and some people are like, no, we need to be hitting that 8 to 10 year old. And for me, it's all, I'm a firm believer of we have to understand the biology of how young people are developing, or how young people develop. Because once you hit 8, 9, 10, for a boy, you start, building that testosterone, you start getting hairs in places and stuff like
8,
that.
9, 10, blood clot.
Since when? That weren't me, Dred. That weren't me, Dred.
And if it's
Mine was 21.
and if it's not biological, then it's mentally and emotionally, because you've got more people now. I mean, you said something like it was a harder generation. I actually think it's probably equal to, and maybe worse, because I think more people now are on like universal credit, job seekers allowance and stuff than anything before. And if you are late or you miss one appointment, then you are kind of you're sanctioned, and you lose that money 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then what happens? Or you can either get like emergency money, or you've got to fend for yourself. How am I going to make that money back? How am I going to do that? Well, I tell you what, my next door neighbour or a couple of doors down, they're out there pushing or whatever. So let me just jump on that for a little bit. Or young people getting ready to go off to uni, and because their parents are well-to-do or they're over a certain amount, they can't get student loans. So it's like, well, how do I do that? Well, listen, I'll tell you what. Listen, you come jump for me for a little bit. Just go on road, go OT, do whatever you got to do. You make that money, and then you can go off to uni.
I want to switch up a little bit before we wrap up, because I think we're talking in a time when Black Lives Matter is still a bit of a current topic. Although you could agree or disagree that it's tapering off a bit. I think it is. But because you're involved in it, and kind of since you've been on television, you're a superstar now. People must look to you to say, what's going on? So I really want to put you on the spot and say, what do you think the Black Lives Matter movement could provide in an ideal world for young black people and older black people in England? In
England as a whole?
Yeah, forget America, because we hear about their perspective a lot, and it's not really the same.
Ideally, it would mean that from a young age, this was my whole thing, from a young age, being at school, giving a younger ethnic minority, like male or female, giving them the opportunity to go and have an equal education as anybody else would, whether they have 10 pence or 10,000 pounds. Like, they have the equal opportunity to get that education and still have their cultural background being involved, and getting the teaching about history,
education,
and about the right history. I'm just saying, as a history of our country already, let's go into like a Caucasian, like female or male, they learn that history about their country. Automatically they're starting to get older, and they've got the mum and dad behind them telling this and drumming this into them. This is now our country. Then things like Black Lives Matter come about. What are you doing in our country? This is our country. Winston fought the war for this, like blah blah blah. Bro, you don't know the history behind it. Learn the whole thing.
I think,
you get what I'm saying?
They don't tell you about this.
They don't tell you about
6,000 Africans that fight in the war.
They don't tell you about anything, and they don't put black people on an equal pedestal.
You're in a country where they're not going to do that. That's the problem. You're in this. You're
saying
that's not going to happen.
You're saying ideally that's the ideal for me. You teach them from a young age that, okay, look, everybody's different. All ages, colours, sizes, whatever. Everybody's different, but these are their histories. These is what happened. No matter how bad it is or how good it is, this is actually what happened.
You're asking British. Okay, you're not born here, but you're asking British people to say we need to break down everything we've been teaching all these people for all this time about Winston Churchill. You know what I mean? All these heroes are put on a pedestal. You basically say to take them off this pedestal.
No, not necessarily take them off.
But you have to take them off this pedestal. You can't keep them on a pedestal. Someone that says let's keep Britain white. This is his quote. This is Winston Churchill's quote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's keep Britain white. You can't then keep that person still on a pedestal. You know what I mean? And
I hear what you're saying.
And then to bring in.
Okay, if they want
we need to.
Britain is white. Let's not.
Yeah, I know it is. But you can't then.
We're still less than 20% of the population.
Exactly. So you can't then go say, oh, we need to tell them they need to change the whole structure. It's not going to happen. So we need to figure out what we need ideally from the Black Lives Movement. You know what I mean? What are we
for things to change?
with?
But that's what I'm saying. For things to change, that is a massive change.
But it has to change from there.
You know what?
It's hard to. It is a hard one.
You know what? I sit here, and every day, and I think about Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, all that kind of stuff like that, and I sit and I think to myself, I only judge myself on the way I judge others now. So now I start to look and I think, okay, so Windrush boat come over, everyone's like, who are they, what are they doing in our schools, why they're taking their jobs and taking benefits. So they managed to do the same thing at the same time, take benefits and steal a job at the same time.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
So and now we have Eritrean, Eastern European, Polish, Lithuanian, and even now I hear black people talking about, oh, they come here, they take over our jobs. And I'm like, hold a second. So let's get this right now. So are we now entrenched in this country? Are we now
doing the same things?
We're now the populace. We're now the populace. So we want to be seen. But we
I don't know what black people usually talk to. First of all, but carry on anyway.
No, I've heard that.
We want to be seen.
I'm challenging that.
But we also want to be like, yeah. So we want the clout. We want to be with the white person. We want to be in our established jobs. We want to we want to get our education individually, and then we want to look down at everybody else.
Yeah.
I want somebody to support me once everything in their world is fine. I mean, if they've got like I don't want someone supporting me about how to be a dad. If they're the shittest dad, I don't want someone coming to tell me how to kind of better myself financially.
When you're in
if they ain't in a good financial situation, get your shit in order.
Then you can come.
Then come and holler at me, or work towards getting your shit in order. Then come holler at me, because I know that there were some people standing up in that Black Lives Matter thing in the park. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not even trying to listen to you right now.
Yeah,
because you were talking shit. It's like, we've got. Well, I feel we have to work on our own doorstep. And once we've got that doorstep done, then we can start to go out there. And it's a process. It's a process.
So let me just dumb it down for me. You don't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement as it stands?
As a shell, as a brand, as a poster, no.
Okay.
No. As a collective group of individuals that are all running in the same direction, champion.
So are you opposed to the idea of the Black Lives Matter movement?
I'm opposed to the label.
I'm not really with the old marching because I feel like.
Then you don't believe you can't.
No. I believe in actual basically what Tev basically pointed out. He said he embodied. I don't know what do you embody? You embody the marching part of it, or actually getting something out of it?
I embody both, and the reason being because me and Eli were involved in the march, and you if you were there to see it in this town, you'd understand what I'm talking about.
All right,
because bro, that is never. I don't know in your life that has never happened for me, and people are gonna look at that 20 years down the line and say, "Rah, that happened in our town."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like this little place.
Yeah, all right. So the marching part of it, I got no time for me. I just think as black people. We've marched so much over the years and got nothing done. There's nothing resolved. We in the same scenario. We march, flipping Martin Luther King march.
Call it the same scenario.
No, but that's what I'm saying. We marched. We've marched. How many times have we marched? I'm on the same level as Dr. Sabi. Dr. Sabi says John Henry Clark. Sorry, John Henry Clark says, what have we actually achieved from marching as a black community? Nothing. As black people, we achieve nothing from marching. For me, it's just like we need to sit down and have the awkward conversations. That's what we need to do. We don't. No one seems to want to do that. That's what we need to do. We're sitting there marching and putting up Black Lives Matter movement, and I just feel like, like you said, there's a lot of clout chasing. That's what I keep saying. That's how I see it.
Okay, we're sitting here still talking about it. Do you know what I mean? How long's it been? Since it started.
Was it March?
In lockdown.
March or April?
People still talk about the Million Man March, but still nothing gets done. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like...
But I don't see... explain to me what hasn't been done.
What has been done? Tell me what has been done.
So you're saying from back then...
Have we moved from Martin Luther King March to now in 2020? Have we moved
Can you walk the streets without being troubled?
Can we walk the street without being troubled? Do we not get in trouble do we not get stopped by the police?
Still, I do. I've been done and stopped.
Is people not getting shot by the police? So, you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean?
I've got a...
it's just hard to say there's a change.
I think that I always live by 3 fundamentals. Educate, aggravate, and then organise. Once you've educated yourself, once you understand what it is you're walking, fighting, protesting about, then get aggravated, get annoyed, feel it in your soul, feel it in your gut, get pissed off, just like when you walk away from watching Roots or 12 Years a Slave, that kind of wanting to go out and bust someone in the face. That's the feeling you need to have, and then organise yourself. Where can I go in order to kind of take this feeling and make it productive? And then...
So why don't you agree with Black Lives Matter then? Because surely we're on steps towards that.
Because I don't feel that there are enough educated and aggravated. I don't think there's enough educated. I think we've got people that are aggravated.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've got enough people that are educated, and I don't know if we've got enough people that are organised. Right now, there aren't enough people that I would say, I'm happy for you to be my voice. So I can't stand for something that doesn't sit and tick all the boxes.
Sounds like you're saying there's no black people you trust.
No, I'm saying that.
It does. I know. Maybe that's not what you're saying, but I could see someone listening to.
No, because that's.
Troy
don't
think there's no black people that are responsible enough to run.
No.
A movement.
I didn't say we haven't got any. I said we haven't got enough.
How many do you need, really? Like we've got one Boris Johnson.
Enough to go in. It's like how many black people have we got? As you said in your previous, how many black people have we got in Suffolk Constabulary that you trust?
Yeah.
That's not me saying, I don't trust all black people. I feel we've got a lot of angry young people.
Oh yeah, I'm angry as well.
Angry young people that aren't educated.
I ain't even that young, but I'm angry. I've been angry.
Of course.
Like I said, I've been angry for years.
And you're educated. And you're educated. So you're educated and you're angry, and you know the processes to get organised. You know the avenues in which to go through, and so do you, and so do you, and so do I. But there are more angry people out there. If we are just out there just causing havoc, if we're out there just knocking on doors and stuff like that, we're not going to get anything done. But if you step up, if you become a local MP for the borough that you live in, and then you start knocking on doors and saying, like, I want to change young people's lives and I want to do that, then you're starting to organise, and then you start to get to that space where you can infiltrate and you can start to be and have more of those decisions.
Do you know what, Troy? I'm going to totally disagree with you.
I'm going to be a
I heard all your points.
That's not full. That's cool.
And I hear, and I was trying to find a way in and kind of listen.
I love disagreement.
But
tell me.
Your plan, as it were.
No, it's not a plan. That's my belief.
Your ideal... Okay, your belief relies a lot upon a kind of a systematic approach that doesn't work for us.
So what are we trying to do? We're trying to change the system. We're trying to change the institutional racism and the systemic approach to the way that black people are treated.
I'll tell you what. Okay, so are you saying that there was no black person with the motivation to do that and has tried to do that ever then?
That's not what I said.
Why hasn't it happened?
I don't know. Or the question.
So has there been no black person?
It not happened consistently.
Has there been no black person or group of people with the education, the motivation, and the opportunity to infiltrate this system and have an impact? Why hasn't that happened in 100 years? If the system allows it to work, why?
No. I didn't say the system allows it to work. I said
you just said the system will allow us to do that.
No, I said that's the only way we have at the moment. That's our only medium we have to go in and do that.
I feel it's not. But I feel like.
Or it's the strongest.
Even them people that have been in that position and be in that power and have, like you said, infiltrated and tried to bust out, they get stopped quick.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
They do.
You're too far now.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
That's the stat. Shut up.
Yes, but I tell you what they can't. They can't. I tell you what they cannot do.
Never going to give up power.
Eli, if I try to run at your front door with me, I'm going to hurt my shoulder. But if 4 or 5 of us run at your door, there's going to be a ruckus. If 10 of us run at your door, we're getting through. If 100 run at the door, it's going to break the frame. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not just talking about one person doing it. I'm talking about consistency. Yeah. I'm talking about generations after generations and pulling it and pushing and spreading and filling that gap. Because one person can't do it. Like, we can all name like 4 or 5 people. But how many elder men, women in this town are there? You would talk about the Caribbean Club and how we could have, and how that was there. Well, there was more than a few. There was more than a few. My aunts and the people I know, there's more than a few that could have gone in, that are educated, that understood that place way better than me.
Yeah.
And they didn't, because they came in. I think they came to a space where like, shit, I got shit to lose. I don't know if I want to do that.
I don't. It sounds a lot like you're saying we've always had that motivation, Troy.
Yes, we have. I don't disagree.
And it's never been that there's never been a generation, maybe ours is the first actually, but there's never been a generation since we've been here from the Caribbean black people, because obviously there are black people here before, that have sat back and thought, nah, this is good enough, I got it good. We just haven't done that. And I feel like, yeah, we do need a lot of people to make a change. And maybe you're actually talking about what Black Lives Matter actually is. Like, it's a change, and it's a lot of people who want the same thing.
Whether it's educated or not, the motivation, I feel like it's all in the same place. Even if they don't understand exactly what it is they are fighting for.
You have to understand what you're fighting for.
Why? No.
How can you fight for something?
I'm not saying exactly, but if you understand that enough is enough, and you understand the history of black people have been oppressed for so long. Okay, you don't understand exactly everything that's happened, but bro, you understand oppression.
When you've got yourself educated and you can quote this and you can reference this and you say the people that are around me, we are invested in this and we want to do this and we want to do this, then they're going to listen to you.
No, even then I don't think they're going to listen to you personally. But
they have to, because clout. If enough of us go to that waste man and we are talking with clout and we all collectively are singing. Do you know what? Saying
You're right. Thing. You are right.
Pardon?
Oh wow. It's a massive U-turn right here.
Hold on.
It's not a U-turn. We're saying the same thing.
I'm not asking anyone to believe.
In different ways.
I think it's not even that. Troy just believes a lot. I think you're taking a massive leap of faith that things are going to all of a sudden be different if we, like, I don't think things are going to be any different. We've seen with the results are there. Like, you are right. That is the way that we need to make change. But we're not winning the hearts and minds of young people to motivate them to do it that way.
No,
and I feel like that is the way that we should do it. But I don't think we can I'm going to say ever, actually, it's a bad word. I don't think we can ever get through to enough people at the right age and have the right power to make them do that way.
How many people can you get through to? Because I don't like.
I think Black Lives Matter and Tev being on telly and saying his bit has sparked more minds than I ever could by doing it the traditional way with certain people who are standing in the way.
Take away the we, because when people put we in, it becomes a cultural thing. It becomes everything that everyone has to do. Tev's doing his bit and he's punching.
As part of the Black Lives Matter movement.
He's punching.
He only got on telly because of the movement.
You lot say I'm punching through, but bro, where have I gone? Look, do you want to know the worst thing?
You're punching. We didn't say
sparking minds. Sparking minds. That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's going to be a bit awkward now. But after that interview, I reached out to people that I thought I needed to reach out to do something to keep this organised. I got aired completely.
Really?
Have never been talked back to.
So why? And that goes back to. So why is the people doing the things
because he probably tried to get through to people who are trying to do it your way. Like, we'll talk about it after who you spoke to, but I bet there are people who are like, this is the traditional route of getting things done.
I'm not saying traditional.
That route doesn't work for us. It's been proven. If it did, if it does work for us, you're saying that like. Yeah, the people before us weren't. We're smarter than the people before us, and we really ain't. We really aren't.
We are. We are not. No, we have access. We've
got more access to stuff.
We have more education and more information, and we have more political power than we've
got more political power
than ever before, because never in the last
political power.
Hold on, in the last 10. When was the last time you saw youth councils and youth parliaments? That wasn't around 40 years ago. That never happened.
Are you talking about young people or black people?
I'm talking about young people. And if you want to talk about young black people, we have political power because we control music, we can control fashion.
That's cultural. That's cultural capital. That's not political power.
And we do not.
Right now.
I tell you what, I think he's the mayor of either Leeds or Sheffield or one of those places up north. And there's a black guy. And if you look at him. He doesn't wear suits. He doesn't wear that big gold medallion. He wears a white snapback, and he wears it to the back. And he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he's learned how to work with that power. He's using the power of language and communication, fashion, and all that kind of stuff to hit a different demographic.
Right.
He's hitting a different demographic that are coming up because more people, more younger people are coming through, and the population is growing, and the 65 plus are dying out. They're dying out. So we need to kind of step into that space. And so people like Tev are punching through because he's hitting the space that he needs to. You can hit the same space.
So both can coexist is what you're saying now?
They need to work together.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like before you were like, Black Lives Matter doesn't really have value. And I think it certainly does because there's
I'm not having this Channel 4 news reporter, so you're saying stuff. It's not coming my way. It's not.
What's his name? DJ Vlad. You never said those words, but you disagreed with Black Lives Matter movement and you disagreed with Black Lives Matter specifically.
As the label, I love what we are doing as a group of people.
Yeah.
As men and females, young and old.
Yeah.
I do not believe that we can't do it. The systems that are in place, people are like, our system's broken. The system is not broken. The system is firm.
Yeah,
it's not going anywhere.
For who it was made for.
Yes, who it was made for. Who it was made for, and they're dying out. They are dying out. You know what? Interracial, multicultural. It's not going to be like what it was 50 years ago. The demographics of white, black, Asian, it won't be like that. We're homogenizing. We are blending in. Everything is becoming the same. So in 10, 15 years, we will have the opportunity because everything will be different. And by that time, my man here is going to be the mayor. He better be. Nothing great was ever achieved without some hard work. So therefore, and that's the thing, we don't want to because we're afraid of losing...
Hold on, you just said we can't say we, but when it's negative, you want to say we?
Okay, thank you very much, thank you very much. You know what, thank you. I don't know if you did that, but I appreciate it. Okay, so...
But this is what we do a lot.
Okay,
right,
politically, if you are trying to manoeuvre the agenda of black people, British black people, or people in Ipswich forward, then we have to... bound together, we have to communicate, we have to look at what our voice is and then move forward. Right now we've just got
voices. We need to lay out our goals. We need to have the same goal. We can't have 10 people in a room because in your household you couldn't get 10 people in a room and go, we have the same ideas.
Which is exactly why I said you can't do that and then
down.
Your house
but that's what I'm saying. You need to sit down and collectively and say like, this is what our agenda is. This is what we're pushing, and this is what we say. And we say, yeah, okay, this is our core agenda. Obviously, other things can come off that.
Core values,
organised.
I think our core values. You could pretty much ask any black person. The core values are going to be pretty much the same. And I am putting us all in a box now because our core values are always going to be for
equal opportunity,
equity, not equality, equity. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be for history and education. And then everything that goes around that is kind of the bigger picture. But I think everyone's going to have the same core value. No black person's going to say, we don't want equity in the system.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even think, and this is a bold statement, I don't even think black people want equal rights.
What, do you think they want better?
No.
I don't think we need I think we need equity.
I think the individual is selfish and they want what's best for them. And once they've got what's best for them, then they're prepared to give off the scraps to everyone else. I'm putting it out there and I'm saying that.
Where's the evidence of that though?
And I'll say it like this. If you look at any good rapper or any like social activist like Stormzy, he's put his people on once he's got his money up. Mm-hmm. So he's all about getting himself to a level where he can be good enough to hold the door open for everyone else to come through. It would have been harder for him to do that whilst he was coming up the ranks. He had to probably brush off a lot of day ones that were coming through. He probably like, look, I can't be seen around you. I have to kind of move differently, so I can't hang around with you. You're moving sly. I can't be around you. He had to move them around. Now what's he doing? He's pushing, and I love what he's doing. He's putting people through college. You know what? I'm sure if my man ran for mayor in London, he'd probably get it.
This is the quietest I've ever heard this room in my life, man. What's everyone thinking?
I'm just confused, man. It was a big statement.
So the first statement you made was, so you think black people, you actually said, right? Say it again. I forgot what you said, man. I don't think I believe what you said.
Okay, from what I
not
took,
say that.
From what I took, I understand where it's coming from. I understand because he's basically saying, as a whole, black people will want, they'll want to get up through there and get up to the highest point and then give off the scraps, right? Is that what you're saying? Then give off the scraps to other people. So it's like, all right, we're here now. Now you lot can do, like, you lot can have what you want. Because we're here.
Now we can.
Because we're bust through the door, we're here, innit? So now you can. I don't agree with it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's a particular type of person.
But Troy, Troy, that's
anybody
not,
could be. That's not black people.
That's not a black person.
Yeah, that's not a black thing. That's everybody.
Where's that coming from? Like, it's certainly not a black thing. All cultures do that. And what happens in culture,
and this is why I said
it's the people who help. That's a big stretch to say that black people don't want other black people to come up.
No,
I think that's a massive stretch.
I did not say that. Love you. I did not say that. I did not say that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You said I'm going to make a bold statement. Black people don't want to see other black people come up.
I said individually. I said if we, and you're going to do this to that part.
Come back to this.
And if I did, let me be my adult and let me re-clarify it.
Right.
I think and I feel that we are unable to collectively move everybody forward right now because I feel that individually we still haven't gotten over what our needs are. I think that if we are given political, social, economic power, we will still take it and run with it.
So we shouldn't have it?
No, I think that we haven't been in enough positions of power enough consistently in order to recognise how to distribute it out to our fellow black person.
So all black people are...
No, that's not... No.
No, but I'm asking you a question.
Don't channel for me, man.
No, I'm asking you a question, Troy. Listen. So, because you've just said we are not ready to do that, but one black family are very different to the next in certain situations.
Yes.
So you're saying there's not a segment of the black community that are ready to do that?
And this is what I mean about cultural oppression. Cultural oppression.
Hold on, answer the question though. So you're saying there's not a segment of the black community that are in a position and would be responsible enough to carry the torch and to help move people forward, because you know there are in other communities, right?
If that was the yes, I totally agree with you. If that was the case, we would have voted in a black MP.
So your answer is no.
No, my answer is if that was the case, if that black section of community that
you're sneaky, you know.
No, he's trying to channel for me.
He tried to Boris Johnson me.
No,
he was
I'm not trying to Boris Johnson.
What I'm saying is, but your actual answer is no.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Because if it was, I'm tight enough in my trousers to say no. What I'm saying is, I do not think that specific section of the black community is consistent enough to do it.
What shows you that they're not?
If that was the case, it would be evident. How many you sit on the MPs for Ipswich? Have you been to any of the local?
I imagine the answer is none, right?
There's Glenn Chisholm, and there's another lady in this area. Mm-hmm. If you go to your local borough meetings, you will see these people not there.
Yeah.
And there's two.
Why are they not there?
No, there's probably three, and this is the only area that's there because those people are not consistent enough about bringing themselves forward to kind of create the agenda that we need to break them ceilings.
Could you see the perspective of they might not be there because they weren't invited there?
Yeah.
You cannot.
When you've got a club, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't tell anyone about your club, or you tell people there's a club, but you don't really go to their area and invite them into your club and promote your club to them, but you promote it to another group of people who go to another sector, they're not going to turn up to your club.
I know one African guy who's running as an independent, and he's consistently run independent for an MP in Ipswich. Nobody, and because he hasn't got the money, and it's.
There you go.
It pushes
not in the club, mate.
Yeah.
He's not got access to
the finance.
What he needs.
It pushes through because it's a systemic thing.
Yeah.
But are you mean to tell me that we collectively, as black people, can't back that?
Well, we back things. Let's go back to market, and we back things that are accessible to us. Of course,
no, we back things that we care about individually.
So we're not motivated to look out for ourselves, is what you're saying. We don't care about ourselves.
So when you say we're talking about we individuals.
Well, you said we don't care. We care. About
do you know what? Do you know what it is? Okay, let me step in because I've kept very quiet and just trying to take it all in. Yeah. I just think it's very sad that we have to sit here and say it has to be somebody of a black person in a higher power to do this. It's sad for you to sit here and listen to. It has to be,
for that.
Bruv. It does not have to be somebody who's black. It does not, bro.
I agree.
We are people. It's a human. We were saying it's a human thing. It's humanity. It's not that hard.
So does that go to All Lives Matter then?
No.
How does that even? What thought process does that even come to?
Because therefore somebody else.
Everybody understands. No, but everybody understands. Black Lives Matter is not only Black Lives Matter. Yeah. It just annoys me the fact that it's a human thing. Why does it take 1 million black people to go get into positions of power? Maybe that's not what most black people want to do.
Okay, so would you be happy with something happening to you, and I don't know the scenario, whatever, and somebody turn around and saying to you, and a white person saying, "I totally know how you feel, man. I totally get that."
Nah,
that's not what I'm asking for. I'm not going to say, because I would never expect somebody to understand unless they have been oppressed in a way that's very similar or the same.
No. It's your oppression. And this is, for me, I think what Black Lives Matters, as it serves, taps into cultural oppression. A feeling. It taps into the feeling that we all have, that we all can identify with, that we don't need to speak about. We can just look at it and be like, yeah, I know, well, yeah, it's just happened, you just got to deal with it. That's something that, and I don't believe, and normally I'd be sitting there and I'd be agreeing with you 100%, but I like to play devil's advocate.
No, I hear what you're saying.
So I would flip and say, now you have to have those people that are in that space that will kind of speak for you.
But I feel like there's a lot of people that are very close.
And there are.
Very close to being in that space.
Jane Basham?
Yeah, but you have to understand as well, because we're saying it's systemic and it's systemic racism, like, bro, they're not going to allow, even if you get 25 man in a group, say there's a room of 40 MPs, say, 25 of them are black or whatever, trying to have their voice. Because they are already in that place of power, like a Caucasian, that it's always been, they've been in the power. Do you get what I'm saying? They've been in a position where they can still have the last say. Yeah. Even if there's 25 over foot, like there's a majority of black people in there, eventually they're still gonna like, they can still shut it off. Like even if there's 100% people in there.
That's oppression. That's oppression.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's still. I potentially could push to become an MP or a mayor of this town or whatever, but I wouldn't personally. Yeah. That's just me personally, because I've got things that I want to do in it.
Yeah,
okay, that's selfish. Okay. You think of that.
That's not
I'll be there to push people, like push in the right direction, and when there's when there's something that's serious, and like if I need to go to a meeting, like I'll do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be the one to be.
And why I agree.
I'll be the spokesperson.
The why should I is very important, because the few are meant to look out for the many, right? Yeah. So the why should I is very important. The 10 protected characteristics. You don't expect an LGBTQ person and a person who's disabled to be sitting in those rooms just so that they're catered for.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't have to expect for us to be in those rooms, you know, across the country to be catered for. We expect everyone to be human and to be caring, understanding and empathetic to our needs and to represent us. But that's in an ideal world. And what Troy's saying is the world ain't ideal.
Yeah, 100%.
And we need to be in those rooms, right?
Yeah. Which is understandable.
Yeah.
Which is right.
We talk about just exactly what you're saying. We shouldn't need to be in the room to be catered for. And the world is not diverse enough for us to understand the ills of everyone else's protected characteristics. So therefore, until that is in place, we should have those people in that room.
All right, I'm going to cut you off, Troy, right? Might have to go in a two-part of this podcast. So before we wrap it up, I just want everyone to have a thought. I need to think too. I'll give you like a minute just your final thoughts about what you want to happen. And just 6 seconds, just wrap it up like the end of your debate. And
what would I like to happen with what?
Just with
the youth, the
youth, the current situation. I think they're kind of...
There are two different segments here.
I think they're two different, but actually they're quite intertwined.
Yeah.
But yeah, your kind of general philosophy on what you think the way forward is.
Oh, man.
You can't be wrong with this, right? Because no one knows the way forward yet, otherwise we'd already be there. It would be called now, wouldn't it?
I don't know what the way forward is personally. I would like to see Tev's age group, you know, exceed us. You know what I mean? Because then we're moving forward as a generation. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would like to say we exceed our parents or you know what I mean, our parents' generation. So I would like to see them exceed us and our kids exceeding us. And maybe get...
Oh, no, sorry, he's got 6 seconds. I was going to question something.
Just maybe maybe do something worthy in our community. I don't know. That's what I would like to see.
Go for it.
Ideally, I want to see firstly just a change in our town, because I feel like I'm not a person to just break out and go move somewhere else like tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'd like to see a change here first, whether that be having it how we used to kind of have it back in my day now. So things like, you say like youth clubs, but I mean like even youth nightclubs. I feel like as a person of music
Coconut Club.
as a person of music,
As a
person of music and a person like obviously like DJing and stuff and trying to have that influence in that aspect, I feel like there needs to be a lot more done. Like I'd like the youth to have that same opportunities that we did. Do you get what I mean? So I don't think they have that right now. They don't have, because we used to have something called it was either Switch Teen or We Heart Indie, and they were in Liquid, and that was under 18 club. And bruv, you'd get hyped to go to there because it's a thing where everybody, even though you're from all postcodes or whatever, it stops that whole you're gonna be in your area, and then if you go to a certain area, it's gonna be on. All of us, you're in the same nightclub now, and it's just a good vibe, innit? It's just more about creating a vibe and creating an understanding with youth, with each other, and within cultures with each other. And I feel like from the younger generation growing up, they just need to have that, as long as they have that taught to them, have that embedded in them, the right things and the wrong things, which people try and do every generation, try and embed the right things in them. And I mean culturally, not necessarily what the right thing is to do and what the wrong thing is to do, but I mean like, okay, so say if I'm a white mum and I'm saying, okay, the black people were oppressed and blah blah, you shouldn't do this to the adults need to be the teachers for their kids, like from an early age. And I feel like that's changing, but I just feel like as a whole, there needs to be more put in place for youths, and it needs to be in this town, and there needs to be more put in place for, I hate saying the word, but the ethnic minority again, because I feel like we had that platform before, and because of situations like that got taken away, but we need that again, kind of thing. But yeah.
All right, Troy, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna let you finish up.
Oh no.
You get the last word, man. The last word is what you want.
This is yours. This is your house, man.
This ain't my house at all. This is our house. This is what we need.
Yeah.
You know, we need this platform for us to be able to voice. I think it's very important. This is not my 60-second, but I think it's very important that we need people to understand that a black person isn't the one thing they see on the television, and a black person is Troy and Ashwell and Eli, and we're all different. We all have different perspectives. I just messed up the camera there. I feel like what I would like to see happen is a mixture of both. I feel like Black Lives Matter should have an impact on people that may hold the keys, and for them to look at their surroundings and maybe think, hold on, why aren't there more people that are in this room? And perhaps they would have enough empathy, that's a very big stretch, to make some sort of change to the existing system, like what some employers do, to maybe make room for a certain amount of people to be in the room, and not take anyone from that race, but make the opportunity available and promote to this corner of the community to see if there is interest, and to see if there is a suitable candidate, because at the moment I don't feel that those people are necessarily being sought out. And I'm going to leave it to Troy, and I wanted to leave it to Troy because I like what he's been saying, and I hope he's going to disagree with me, because there's more than one way to approach things. You know, there's always, you can knock the front door and the back door at the same time. You might get in the house faster.
Yeah, I agree. You have to, police operations, you do front and back door.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Ultimately, the goal for me is to have a hierarchy of competence, and by that I mean those that we elect in, and those that we put in place, and those that we use as our voices to continue with the fire in their belly that started them on that journey, to want to be able to speak on behalf and have change in their communities. And then when they get to those high levels of political influence and power, to still have that same drive that they had when they were going up. because I feel that is lost when they get up, because they start to play the game that is already being played.
Yeah.
I feel that coming through, that they also bring in people with them. So not just bringing themselves through, but they create an educational structure for other people to come through, and ultimately for young people. I believe that this town should be having more young people in positions of political influence. My man Tev here is in an absolutely amazing space, and if he chooses not to, then that's good, as long as he understands his own kind of role. His role. I believe that we also need to step aside from our emotional content of how we feel about certain situations and bring in more fact, so that we can address more of the issues and topics that need to be addressed, because it's not until we take away our emotional content from it that we can start to really look at the facts that exist in this town and some of the concerns, and then start to address it from a factual point of view rather than an emotional point of view. And I also want to see just organisations pulling together. I think we need a fast and a slow process, because the fast process will kick the behind of the slow process. I think the slow process is strong, and I think that the fast process is energetic, and I think when you pull them both together, you've got social change.
Mm-hmm. All right, save everyone for coming down. That was the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me give a big shout out to the One Step Away From podcast. Go and check that out. Ipswich young men representing.
It's hot.
And until next time, where the keys at is out. Peace.